In this video we have ellipse to graph. We'll define the center, vertices, foci, and then graph the ellipse. Now it's easy to find this information to graph if we have it in this standard form. In this standard form, the center is given to be hk. You notice here a is greater than b, which is greater than 0, and b squared is given in terms of a squared minus c squared. So if the larger value, in this case a or a squared, is under the expression with the x, then you have a horizontal ellipse. That is, the major axis is either parallel to the x-axis or it coincides with it. If the center of the ellipse is at the origin, the major axis is the x-axis. If the larger number is under the y expression, then you have a vertical axis. So in that case, the center being at the origin, the y-axis would be the major axis. So we want it in this particular form. So that means what we have to do is have to complete the square in both x and in y. So this would look like this. Notice here I have x squared plus 10x. I got 4y squared minus 32y. So let's do this. X squared plus 10x. And then I want to add something to this two terms, x squared plus 10x, to complete the square. Well, since the coefficient of the square term is 1, I can take half of the middle term here, 10, coefficient of the x, square it. That gives me 25. That's going to complete the square there. Now, I'll have to add that to the other side also. But now let me take care of business here in the middle. I'm going to factor out a 4 from these two terms here. So this will give me a y squared minus 8y. Took out a 4. I'm going to take the 73 over to the other side. Becomes a negative 73. And now here I'm going to complete the square inside the parentheses. So again, I'm going to take half the coefficient of the y term, just like I did over here in the x. That's going to give me a 4, negative 4. Square it though is 16. And then whatever I add to the left side, I have to add it to the right side. So I had a 25 here to complete the square in x. So I have to add 25 over here. And then here, for the y, I added 16 right here. But notice I have a 4 out here. So I'm actually multiplying that 16 by 4. So I'm actually adding 4 times 16, which is 64. So a quick calculation here then. I got minus 73 on the right side. Add 25 to that. And then add 64 to that. I get 16. So I can rewrite this as x plus 5 quantity squared. And then the next part here, I have 4, and then the parentheses here, y squared minus 8y plus 16, that factors into y minus 4 times y minus 4. I'll write that as y minus 4 squared. And then the right side was just 16. So remember, when you're working with ellipses, you want the right side to be 1, so you can make it look like the standard form. So I divide everything by 16, and then divide it by 16, so this will be 16 down here. Divide this by 16, 4 to 16 is 4, so this will be a 4 here. And then on top I'd have y minus 4 quantity squared is equal to 1. Now it looks like the standard form. So from this then I see that this is your a squared here, and this is your b squared. So from that I can see that a is equal to 4, and since b squared is equal to 4, that means that b has to be 2. And from the c squared, so c will equal 2, this is 4 times 3, so if I take the square root of that, that'll give me 2 times the square root of 3. Now you're going to use these to get the vertices, the center, foci. So from this information here, right here, this is h and k here, so it's x minus a negative 5, y minus k here, so that's in the form we want. This one I have to put in x minus a negative 5. So the center the ellipse would be at -5 and 4. So we go 5 to the left, 4 up, and then in this case, the major axis of the ellipse. The major axis will pass through the vertices, through the foci, and of course to the center. And so will the, and of course the other axis will be perpendicular to that. That'll be the minor axis. We want the vertices now. So the vertices are going to be, I'm going to use A to find the vertices. So basically what I do is I add, it's a horizontal axis there. So I'm adding 4 to the -5. That'll give me a -1. So I go -1 over, 1 to the left, 4 up. That gives me 1 vertex. And then I subtract 4. So that'll give me -9 and 4. So you picture that, we go 5 over to the left, 4 up to get the center. Then 1 to the left, 4 up, that'll be 1 vertex. And then 9 to the left and 4 up, that'll be the other vertex. And of course it's going to be on the major axis. The major axis in this case will be parallel to the x-axis. Now for the foci, we add the value of C to the first component of center. It's the -5, and then we subtract it. That'll give us the 2 foci. So here I'm just going to say it's going to be -5, and this will be plus and a minus 2 square root of 3. And 2 square root of 3 is approximately 3.4. So we're going approximately 3.5 units to the right and then to the left. And we're going to stay at that line y equal 4. So there are your foci. Now we also need, it doesn't mention this in the instructions, but you want to accurate graph here, you want to get the co-vertices. Right? In other words, you have, let me just do it right here. Let's assume you have something, the ellipse is the axis. This could be the x-axis, or it just could be an axis parallel to the x-axis. So let's say the ellipse goes like this. So the center would be here, right at the center. This doesn't have to be the x-axis or the y-axis here. It could just be axes parallel, the major axis and the minor axis. One will be parallel to the x, and the minor in this case would be parallel to the y. But we go center there, and then we add A to get this vertex, subtract A to get this other vertex, subtract the foci to get this point, 1 foci, and then subtract it over here, we get it over here. But then over here we have the co-vertices. You get that from B. So what is B here? It's 2. So the co-vertices, we get these points over here. We add and subtract B from the second component because it's going on a vertical axis. So this would be -5. And then we add 2 to the 4. That gives us a 6 here. And then a -5. Then subtract 2 from the 4 will give us 2. Okay, so all we need is the actual graph. But here are the main details of the graph. Center at -5, 4. One vertex at -1, 4. Another vertex at -9, 4. The foci at -5, plus or minus 2, radical 3 and 4. And then the co-vertices, -5, 6, -5, and 2. So that's the main thing there. And let's just go what the graph would look like then. Okay, so I have it kind of started here. So here it is. This is your center right here. That's -5. Go -5 this way and 4 up. That's your center. And then these are the vertices above and below it are the co-vertices. This is your major axis. It's parallel to the x-axis. Had the center been at the origin, then the major axis would be the x-axis. And the y-axis would be your minor axis. But in this case, the center is not at the origin, it's over here at -5, 4. This is your major axis, so in this case, this is your minor axis. So the minor axis, if the center is not at the origin, and you have one where the A value, the larger value is under the x, then the major axis will be horizontal, and it'll be parallel to the x-axis. The minor axis will be vertical, and it'll be parallel to the y-axis. So again, we got the point here, -5 and 4 is the center, and then we add 2 to get this point above here. That's -5 and 6. Subtract 2 to get this other co-vertex down here. -5. This is -5 and 6 up here. This is -5 and 2. And then the main vertices, A was 4, so we add 4 to the -5. We get -1 and 4 at this point. So adding 4 to the -5 will give me 1 and 4. Then subtracting 4 will give us this point over here, -9 and 4. And then the foci are going to be somewhere in between here, in between the vertices. One will be there, one will be over here. As far as the graph goes, that's enough information to get your graph. We go like this, and like that. Here's your center, -5, 4. Co-vertices, -5, 6 up there, -5, 2 down here. And then the main vertices, -1 and 4 up. And then the other one, -9 and 4 up. And there we have it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.